if you are like most people, you think that earning more money will solve most of your problems. But for many of us, more money won't actually give us what we think it will. And it certainly can't fill a hole in your soul if that is what you're trying to just shovel in with more money. So, to talk to us about that today, I brought in Kathy Fettke. She's the founder of the Real Wealth podcast and the Real Wealth real estate website and syndication service. She is the author of Scaling Smart: How to Create a Self-Managing Business. And I know that this is a topic, Kathy, that is very near and dear to your heart. So I'm curious to hear, about your views on this and some of the conversations that you've had with people around this over the last few years.
It's why our company is called Real Wealth instead of real estate wealth or whatever else we could call it. It's real wealth. And what does that mean? So often we go through life not really thinking so much about the future or what's truly going to matter to us in the end. And by doing so, there's too many distractions, too many things that can pull us away. For example, if you were to list the top 10 most important things to you, the highest priorities in your life, and for those listening, go ahead and do it. Hit pause and just write down what matters most to you. And oftentimes it's our children, our spouse, our families, our health, these things that matter. But then the next exercise is to write down the top 10 ways that you spend your time. Where do you spend your most time and your money, your investment? And oftentimes these things are flipped. In other words, we maybe our family is the most important thing, but we find we're just giving our family the scraps of us, the leftovers, what the tired, exhausted part of us after a full day's work. That's what our priority, our number one priority gets. Health, is probably a high priority for most people. And how much do we really invest in that? Being able to flip things around and understand what really matters and how do I prioritize that, make sure that I'm honoring the things that matter most to me before anything else.
So I can imagine a listener hearing that and saying, that sounds all well and good. I can't live off of working only 20 hours a week. So, what would you tell that person who would be pushing back and saying, oh, that also sounds well and good on paper, but I need to work 40, 50 hours a week in order to maintain the life that we've created?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you, though? Do you? I've met people who went in my travels who have spent 2 years traveling with their young kids. And how did they do it? They live on a very small budget. My daughter, who decided to not go straight from college into getting a full-time job like most of her friends, instead, she has a job she could do online as a social media manager and was able to travel all through Asia on a very on I don't know, making $20,000 a year or something like that. So we always have choice, but we forget that because we are trained to think a certain way. In school, we're really trained to be workers. We're not even so much trained to be business owners or wealthy people. I mean, when was the last time you learned how to invest while in school? Invest for passive income. It's just not taught. We're taught to go get a job. Even my daughters who went to college and wanted to be entrepreneurs like us, they said we all we're being trained for in college is how to be a really good worker for someone else, even though they were in business courses for entrepreneurial skills. So yeah, you can design your life any way you want. It's just too often we choose that most people are doing.
I love all of that. And that's a recurring theme on this show. And for anyone who's in our co-investing club and hears me talk. So my wife and I have been overseas for a decade now. And yeah, I'm a huge proponent of lifestyle design, of intentionality, of achieving time freedom, location freedom, doing the work that is most important to you as opposed to the work that happens to pay the most. One quick example that I give all the time is taking what we called a red month, where we just crossed through a month in our calendar with a big red marker and said, I'm not available this month. Don't schedule any
Don't
meetings
call
for me.
me.
Yeah, we went to Argentina and we ran around Patagonia for a month hiking and trying wine in Mendoza. And it was great. It was amazing. So, yeah, I love all of that. And you touched on something that I just wanted to expand on a little bit, that most Americans, and it's not just Americans, most people all over the world, they have this sort of unquestioning commitment of just normal middle class life where they never even think twice about it. They just assume that's how they should live. We ran the numbers on this show just a couple weeks ago about how you can actually live at an all-inclusive resort in the Caribbean for less than it costs to live in a typical US city. And you can certainly live far less in South America, in Southeast Asia, in Eastern Europe, and a dozen other places around the country, or around the world rather. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can do anything you want, but you have to let go of some of those just unquestioning assumptions about what life should look like. Kathy, in 30 seconds or less, how do you help people, and how can people connect with you if they want to take you up on that help?
Yeah, we are realwealth.com and we help people achieve that kind of financial freedom through real estate. And so realwealth.com, it's free to join. And then Real Wealth Show is my podcast, which you can find anywhere. And then my book is Retire Rich with Rentals that you can get anywhere and also on Amazon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And guys, if you enjoy these quick, focused conversations that we have about not just real estate investing, but lifestyle design and unconventional money advice, please rate, review the show, pass it on to your friends and family and neighbors and coworkers and second cousin twice removed if you find something valuable in these conversations. And on that note, check out sparkfunnel.com/free for a free course on investing hands off in real estate. And we will catch you on the flip side.